I don't even want to tell you how much time it took me to get ready. It's 11 o'clock at night. It's 11 o'clock. I started doing my makeup at 5 p.m. And I did all the other prep, like the stuff on the wall and whatever, way before. So I don't want to talk about it anymore, honestly. Also, I gotta show you that it's like a whole shtick, just like Darcy's outfit, okay? I am dressed as Darcy because of her new season look. She's probably the closest one to me in terms of looks from the franchise. In the previous seasons, she didn't have, cheeks. So it wasn't like that striking of a resemblance, but now that she's got cheeks, people have been asking for a season review so much, and I'm not gonna lie, I almost didn't do it for obvious reasons. Anyway, the art direction this season changed drastically.
If you want to be completely goddamn disappointed, sure, yeah.
If changes from seasons 5 to 7 were, kind of negligible to the point where it really doesn't matter, this time we're dealing with a lot of changes in terms of design. The 3D models of, for example, of Fia look really great in my opinion, but the girls themselves, the characters, this design is low-key ridiculous. In my opinion.
Selfie time!
Do you really have to make them look 12? It's a bit too young to have all these powers and boyfriends, and if they're not supposed to look 12, then why did you make them look like that? The casual outfits, they're all definitely wearing things that were popular at the time, but even though the outfits are not terrible, they don't quite communicate anything about their personalities. For example, Bloom's outfit is quite cute. I really like the skirt, I really like the little bows on it. It's adorable, but then you look at Musa, and her outfit is a bit too similar to Stella and to Flora in many ways. And I know that Musa's style has changed a lot since season 2, but it doesn't mean that it's not strange to see. There's a lot of purple, pink, and blue going on, and it's just a little jarring. Tekna in yellow is really weird. I have never thought I was gonna see her in yellow, and I don't think I like that choice. It's not like she can't wear yellow or something like that. Like, obviously she can, but I don't think I like it. Tekna's also not really wearing anything futuristic or even remotely related to anything futuristic, and yeah, it's just weird. I don't know. We've been seeing it in the previous seasons too, but it doesn't make it a good decision. It's the same thing. I'm complaining about the same things basically. So the outfits are not like horribly ugly or anything, but they're just not interesting, especially for a whole group of girls. You can't just dress them all in the same style and call it a day. What's the difference between them? What's the point? Check out my eyeshadow. A couple of the girls obviously match these outfits because their personalities match them, like Flora, for example. Another thing that removes a lot of personality from the girls and from their outfits is actually the fact that there's not enough culture. We're used to see a lot more culturally relevant outfits in Winx, and at least when it comes to their party outfits or like formal outfits, now they all have the same gown as per usual. It's been a thing since season 5. It just makes it feel like there's no difference between all of their realms in terms of culture. It might seem strange, but fashion does suggest a lot about culture. It does at least imply that there is one. We also get outfits that are supposed to be the Winx version of spacesuits. It's just outfits with some metal motifs, and listen, the outfits are okay, I guess. They're just like one lost silver chip away from being very JoJo Siwa, and I'm gonna be repeating that day in and day out. I do not know what the fuck is going on with the whole JoJo Siwa-fication of Winx, but I do not like it, and I wish it wasn't a thing. We have to talk about the specialist outfits, and I guess we do have to mention what specialists look like. Who the fuck are these people?
Wow. Hey, people.
Who is that? Genuinely. Do you guys recognize any of them?
Leave it to the specialists.
The specialists are gonna be here? When?
Watching this was traumatizing, okay? Look at Timmy here.
Can we fix it? Baby, can we fix it?
I genuinely was so shocked when I saw this shot. What is going on? That was the first moment when I could see their ass cheeks on screen, and who came up with that? Who came up with that? I'm just wondering. This is just a question. I wish this was the only time we saw their ass cheeks on screen, but
Girlfriend, stop! Get back in the car!
so defined too. They look so young, and now they get even tighter suits. Why? Specialists wearing really tight clothing was okay when they looked like 25, first of all, and second of all, their ass cheeks have never been that defined ever. No one ever tried to draw the actual line on the cheek. No one's done that in Winx before. How is it that this is a season that's supposed to be for younger audiences and they get this? Why is this happening? Does anybody know? Because I don't. They look younger than Winx, in my opinion. Like, they look roughly like 9 years old. That's my guess. I don't like this. I do not like this. This is weird as shit. Listen, they were 18 to 24 in the original. Look at these two screenshots. Do you see the difference? I mean, you sure do. This is a rhetorical question. But, God, this is just absolutely ridiculous. I don't know. Here they're grown adults and no one thought to draw these thick-ass lines. And I do mean in multiple meanings. Their voices and Brandon's voice.
Right behind you. Sorry to interrupt, Sky, but duty calls.
Brandon was always my favorite, you know that. But also his voice, whichever voice actor voiced him, except for like one or two of them in like later seasons, his voice actor was always great too. Fit him really well. But this voice wouldn't even fit him when he looked like an adult, let alone a child. This is so jarring. The first time he spoke, I spat my tea out on my laptop. I almost ruined my source of income because I was so shocked by this. Oh, this is diabolic. Oh, every season that I've reviewed in the past, I could say, this season is a mess, but at least Brandon is as hot as ever. Speaking of Brandon, first of all, show him more. Damn it.
6-inch pumps, play with his balls, dunks, bow head.
I can't say that anymore. It's over, you guys. And like, okay, let's just assume that I'm the only one who's feeling uncomfortable about that, and like it's a show for a new audience and for younger children, whatever, right? So why keep the timeline intact, right? Because before, even though it didn't make sense, at least they looked like adults and you kind of could believe that they had this whole history with each other or history of protecting the magical dimension, whatever. But at this point, this is fucking ridiculous. They could have just started anew every single season, kind of have it as, or every episode, just have a norm that's established, kind of like in The Simpsons or, Bob's Burgers or whatever the fuck. Like, shows where the timeline is not that important because things are just kind of happening, but you can have 25 Christmases if you really fucking want to. And at this point, this is the only way I think this could make any fucking sense if they would have approached it this way. Also, what the hell do you mean that Griselda is mad at the girls for being late to a test? When they were just restoring peace on some star or whatever. It just makes no sense that they both get the responsibilities of adults and at the same time are not afforded any of the freedoms of that. It just makes no sense. Why do they freely reference Valtor and talk about how they saved the magical dimension and then go back to class, where they're supposed to perform an easy spell, by the way, to be graded on it by their professor? It's just stupid. So let's return to what specialists are wearing. They're wearing uniforms again, but this is totally normal, totally fine, but these uniforms are now color-coded. So they're supposed to show their assigned color, I think that their phantom blades using those colors was better than them having their suits color-coded. Also, I got so many jokes on my post about season 8 and about specialists. They were about twinkification of specialists, and first of all, they made me laugh, okay? Second of all, I can't even say that you're wrong because you're right. Anyway, their weapons are so lame. Okay, they're all the same color, first and foremost, right? Which is like, okay, this is their aesthetic choice now. But they look so stupid with those batons and whips. I understand that maybe those massive weapons didn't look proportional or, I don't know, aesthetically pleasing or some shit with those children, but that's why it's again a bad choice to make them look so young. To be honest, I don't like the entirety of the look. So also they got like wings, but like automatic ones, whatever, that kind of built in to their suit or whatever. I don't like them. Just aesthetically speaking, it is very useful, but whatever. I don't like the entire look, so it's not like the wings are actually changing anything. However, their weird chin pieces. Ew. What's up with that? What's up with that? What's up with science fiction and having a weird chin thing? Anyway, both groups have something adorable about them. That adorableness, it's definitely coming from the fact that they look like kids, you know? And they're cute in a kitty kind of way, but it just doesn't fit the story very well because they're too young. Seeing Winx all coupled up with specialists is also a lot weirder because of their looks. Yeah, it's always been grating because of how much everyone was coupled up and how they would only interact with their partners in the group mostly. I'm not saying all the time, but mostly. Now it's just so fucking weird because like, why are they dating each other at this young of an age? They could have had romance involved, but more like in a sense of how romance is written in stories that have young people involved, you know, like really young children, where people might blush or something like that and they might have a crush or whatever it is, but it's never that serious. They're not like couples. Also have to talk about the whitewashing girl. Oh, it's bad. It's bad. It's not like, oh, it's a shade lighter. This character is a shade lighter, or this character is a shade darker, whatever the fuck, you know, like it's not negligible differences. It is insane. Why are they all so fucking pale? Like, I know I'm pale as hell, I'm not the one to talk, but girl, in real life, that's just not how it works. You can't just make Aisha look like a tan white girl. That's insane. People who are like saying that, oh, it's because of the art style, I don't care. They could have made the skin darker. Listen, the appeal of Winx to me as a kid, when I was like 8 or so, it was because they were like older sisters, you know, kind of like those sisters that are about 10 to 12 years older than you are. They are already considered to be adults in your eyes, at least, like maybe they're 17 or something, and they're going to college, they have boyfriends, they're beautiful, they're interesting, they got their signature perfume that you would want to learn everything about, or you were super interested in their makeup bag and what they study and who they want to be and how they spend their weekends, because it was fun for you to observe what would be your life in an ideal situation in a few years. It was aspirational more than it is a show where you are the same age as the characters or whatever. And I think that it is more common for kids to be watching shows about people who are older than them or who live in a magical world. It's something more aspirational to watch instead of something depressing, right? Or something that's literally a reflection of your life and that's it. That's the selling point in my opinion. I was watching girls that were entering the next phase in their lives that I wanted to participate in as well, even though I was a kid. So if they wanted to make a show that's basically Cocomelon, right? Just make that, like make a spin-off series like many shows do. It's very, very common for animation series to just create something for a younger audience and they just make them babies, for example. Like that's something I think that Total Drama did. Rugrats did it in a different way where they first made it about babies and then they made it about teenagers. So it's a very, very common thing. Why the fuck would you not do that if you're aiming for Cocomelon? We've also got some old characters return, Valtor and the Trix, and I feel like the Trix are not as young looking as Winx, but it might be because they are consistently wearing really dark makeup. They're never shown in their casual outfits. Valtor also looks pretty similar, I would say, although there are a lot of changes to his character, but we will talk about that later. Nut makes an appearance, which is nice to see. Kiko gets a makeover. I wouldn't say that it is a super successful makeover. I do not love this new design. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. And also we get a new character called Orion, and it is a bit of an ironic situation because it's crazy that a character that's introduced as a thief has a design that's been stolen from an indie game. And when I say stolen, I mean literally taken entirely. When I first heard of it, I was kind of expecting that people are going to show a remotely related design, because that happens very often where people will be like, oh, they completely stole this design, and then you look at the pictures and like the only thing that's similar is, for example, both characters are wearing a red dress that's like a mini dress, for example, and it's like, okay, you're going too far. This is a little ridiculous. But this, it's one-to-one, basically just complete rip-off. I have never really seen that happen in the Winx universe where it was this egregious. I know there's been plenty of times when Rainbow has used choreographies or transformation moments that were either inspired or entirely taken from somewhere. But personally, I do not think that any of those things were that egregious, genuinely, because they're just from the different media or art forms. If, for example, they would have been doing like a choreo that Britney Spears has done at some point, I don't think it's really like stealing as much as it's an homage, but maybe I'm wrong because I'm not entirely sure what their intention was in general. I know some people commented on how some designs can be inspired by designers in real life, which is something that a lot of people have done. Like, for example, you know, the creator of Sailor Moon, Takeuchi Yazawa, and her Nana series, right, with Vivienne Westwood, but I'm not sure if the designers themselves are pissed about it. But it seems like in many ways it's a symbiotic relationship where the creators are inspired by those designs, they use them for their characters, and then those characters and shows, when they become popular, create interest in the real life designers who get sales from that. But I don't know. I genuinely don't. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, let me know if you've read a lot about that or have talked to a lot of people about it. Let me know what you're thinking about that. We also get characters like Obscurum and his sister Dorana. They don't have very good designs, straight up. I'd say that Obscurum has a better design than his sister because just look at her. Girl, I haven't seen lazy designs like that in big shows of a size like Winx in quite some time. I mean, maybe I wasn't paying attention, but the design isn't good. Regardless of comparison, were you going to draw any details for this character? I just don't quite understand why they would create the character that stays in the show the entire way through, like the entire season. She pops up here and there and you would do such a lazy job of it. Just look at this one character from season 4 that appears only in 1 or 2 episodes of the show. If Sibylla is too much of a featured character for you to compare to Dorana, let's compare her to the Sage of Lymphaea as a reference, right? A character that appears only once for maybe a minute. Yeah, maybe a minute, honestly. Do you see what I mean? There's so much more effort put into this one character than in this queen that appears throughout the entire season of season 8. It just makes no sense, girl. Okay, let's talk about transformations this season. Winx used to get multiple transformations per season since season 5. It is nice to see that they figured out that having 2 transformations per season is a bit too much. In my opinion, the optimal amount is 1 transformation per 2 seasons, but that will only fit the storyline or the level of writing that the first 3 seasons had, okay? For example, I think that Enchantix definitely should have had 2 seasons to its name before Believix was even thought of, even for a second. I think it's a little bit insane that they had Magic Winx for 2 seasons and then Enchantix for 1. It just makes no sense, honestly. It doesn't. I do love Magic Winx. This is not a dig at Magic Winx. This season we're getting only 1 transformation and the rest are old transformations that were brought back from other seasons. I'm actually glad to see this happen because I always thought it made more sense that they would be able to access different types of transformations that they already acquired. Like, that just makes sense, especially when a lot of new transformations were added for very specific reasons, like being able to use your magic underwater, right? So the first transformation that shows up in season 8 is Butterflix. Doesn't make any sense.
Is this a new couch?
Because if you brought this new system of, you have to make sense with what kind of transformation you're using, it doesn't make sense that you would use Butterflix all of a sudden. Like, you're not dealing with magical animals in a world where everything is like animal themed or whatever. It just doesn't make sense. Butterflix is exactly the same, I would say, as far as I can tell. I think that there are very marginal differences, but I do think that aesthetically speaking, this transformation fits season 8 more than season 7 or any other season for that matter. Do I like it? No. It is the most undercooked transformation out there, okay? Of course, a lot of them were not well thought out, but I think that it looks cuter in this art style. The new transformation, which is Cosmix. Cosmix is a transformation that Winx specifically need to reignite the stars that have been drained by Valtor or Obscurum. As a transformation, Cosmix is okay. It's just okay. The way that you earn it just by being Winx, I guess, and the Queen of Luminia giving you this power, it's fine. I mean, it's not good. It's not exciting to watch, but whatever. Like, it is what it is. It's not an ugly transformation, so that's already a win. The song is low-key a banger. It is. Genuinely gets stuck in your head.
Let's go. We're cosmic swings. We can light up the stars.
I think that every transformation should have a catchy tune, honestly, to make it more fun to watch and for it to be more memorable. There is some customization to the outfits. They're better than Butterflick's in that regard, but not much of a difference. It's not like drastic differences where you can actually see each person's magic through their outfit. I like that they clearly took inspiration from Sailor Moon transformations for this one because I think that it makes a lot of sense since Sailor Moon does feel very celestial in its nature, considering that each one of the guardians is related to a planet, and that Usagi is a moon princess. I think that it was a good decision overall to pay an homage here to one of the most iconic Magic Girl shows, the Magical Girl Show. The wings are not my favorite here, but I do like the addition of transparent net-like skirts, you know, that are on top of a few other layers of a skirt. That's cute. The net-like material kind of reminds me of the way that we visualize the space-time fabric of the universe. It's nice to see some visual aspects that are not just stars or planets in the design of this transformation. However, the concept of the transformation could have been executed a lot better. Not only is the earning of transformation is lacking, but the design itself could have been inspired by different types of planets, stars, and other celestial bodies. There's so much to choose from. I think that this transformation is cute though to compare it to something like Sirenix.
Girlfriend, stop! Get back in the car!
I know many of you like Sirenix, but it's just not a good transformation, girl. It's ugly as shit. You can like the earning of it, the process, right? But let's be real. Let's be very real. The outfits are ass. They are. Then we got a new Enchantix, a redesign for this, obviously for this version. Obviously they tried to make it more age appropriate. It's still unclear and annoying and weird that you can't really tell what age they're fucking supposed to be. I would assume they're 16 based on the writing in terms of like how much freedom they have, but at the same time they act more like 12-year-olds, they look more like 12-year-olds. I don't know. In the original, the Winx get their Enchantix when they are like 18 and 19 and maybe even 20 for some of them. We don't know exactly how long the span of season 3 is, but I see why they would adjust the designs to fit the age because the new look is definitely a lot younger. But it's a lot of pink, and it's to the point where it overtakes the design and overall vibe of the transformation. When they're separate from each other in the shot, it's not as like overwhelming, but when they're together, it's a little bit too much. Bloom's outfit was largely blue in season 3, right, with some light pink accents in the gloves and her little bow and just a touch on her dress where it went into gradients, but that was only for, you know, artworks, not for the actual show where they were animating it and stuff and had to remove some of the details. Now pink is the second most featured color, so Musa looks cute in the new version of the outfit, but once again the wings and everything have been overtaken by red, which I do love as a signature color for Musa, but I think that the original was playing with colors and with color theory a lot more, which was a lot more impressive because her massive wings were yellow, but you still remembered her outfit as red. And also it was really interesting to see new colors to be featured in the outfits for some characters, right? Because before most of them had one signature color. Flora probably got the most faithful adaptation here. I assume it's because her original outfit is already pink as hell. Aisha already had a few versions before, right? We had the first one that was more blue with green accents, and then it was changed to green. I don't know why they did that. I like that the blue one had more accents and it just felt felt a little bit more interesting because it had both blue and green, right? In this version, instead of being a green outfit with some other accent colors, her outfit is pink with green accents. What do you have against all the other colors in the rainbow? I don't understand. Stella gets entirely too much pink as well. However, her transformation sequence is cute, so I'm not like that pissed about it. But anyway, that pink in the middle section, like that pink top or whatever the hell, oh, it's not good. Oh, I wish they made it yellow or even light blue like her accent colors. I just don't get why they would go with pink here. It just doesn't look good. It doesn't. Tekna's outfit is quite faithful to the original as well, actually, and she avoids the pink curse, and she gets the lower half of her wings that she had in the original design before they settled for the third season design. Yeah, her outfit is probably number one, with Musa being close second, even though it's not that interesting in color combinations than Musa's original one. I still don't get why they didn't use miniaturization spell as a moment to show the fairy dust sequence. You have this perfect opportunity to bring it back and you don't use it. Why? The transformation sequence, of course, does not compare to the original. The original one was really good, honestly. But I'm glad to see that they are not flailing around as much and that the animators decided to give more fluid and slower movements a chance. It definitely works a lot better. Not as the original, but as like in terms of later season animation, you know. We also get a Sirenix redesign, a sub-form of Sirenix, which is Crystal Sirenix. I think that the redesign did add more variety and individuality to the outfits, but I'm still not a fan of the original design, so the update doesn't save it for me. Honestly, it doesn't. I do want to say that Crystal Sirenix is different. I like the bodice designs more, the fur trim and the cape tail at the back. It makes them look a little bit more like mermaids. You know, it's always welcome in my books when it comes to aquatic transformations. However, let's be real, I am biased here. I am the type of people who loves Lovix, for example, and I'm always on my Ice Queen agenda. I am, especially in the summer. Okay, Aisha's outfit has too much pink though. Once again, I think that matching outfits to power colors is not a good idea. Yeah, the animation movement in the transformation is a lot smoother though, so I'm happy about that. Anyway, let's talk about writing. So the overall premise, this season is star themed. Themes have become a new thing for Winx after season 3, I think. I know that season 4 is not really as themed as the following seasons, but technically speaking, Winx do get an objective specifically to make people on Earth believe in magic again right at the beginning of the season, and their new magic transformation specifically applies to that objective alone, just like in the following seasons. That is the biggest difference between seasons 1 to 3 and 4 to 8. In the early seasons, there's definitely a storyline with an objective, but that objective is not established in the very first episode in a sense of requiring the girls to acquire transformations or go somewhere to repeat actions over and over and over again. Enchantix is a natural progression for all fairies, right? And not a special thing for this mission or for Winx. So it integrates well into the story. It can be utilized to be a cool signifier of overcoming personal struggles or doing a thing that a fairy is supposed to do in a very dramatic kind of way that shows that you're ready to become a full-fledged fairy, right? Season 4 was Believe in Magic, which is more of a wide theme, so I'll keep it out of this argument altogether. It doesn't fit either or, but let's look at the others. Season 5 is an ocean theme season. 6 fairy tales, 7 animals, 8 stars. Themes are not the same as storylines or arcs. For example, Bloom trying to figure out where she came from and what happened to Domino. It's not a theme, it is a story arc, a character arc. Themes are a loose and lazy type of way of making a series seem like it has a direction for a season. My back hurts. Think about season 1. Can you come up with a visual theme that would make every episode very similar to each other, like season 8, where every episode is about villains seizing the power of stars and Winx stopping them in like mini quests, you know? No, not really. You can argue that it is an Althea themed season or Magic's themed season or Bloom's power season, but in reality, whichever way you spin it, that season is more about Bloom integrating into the magical dimension, meeting all of her future friends, which leads to a lot of narrative driven episodes that cannot really be moved around freely without breaking the story. Same with season 2. Even though it is a slice of life season, a lot of relationships are alive and still forming, with new characters being actually interwoven with the main cast. Pixies were introduced not just as random characters, but as familiars of fairies that every fairy finds and bonds with in their life. There are a lot of firsts for this characters because they get time to actually get to know each other and bond, like Stella and Brandon or Musa and Aisha, you know? What is the theme of season 3? Oceans? Nature? Mermaids, solar power, parties. Yeah, there's no one simple link because the story is written for the characters and for their growth and not to fill the time with random side quests that change nothing about their lives. So now that I explained the difference between themes and storylines or arcs, let's examine the star/space theme of Winx season 8. This could have actually been pretty good if space was just a setting, not a fucking crutch, okay? The fact that Winx is a magical girl show that is kind of a space odyssey, it would be so cool to actually take a page out of Sailor Moon and create a season that focuses more on the intergalactic adventures that take place in a lot of magical places that lack this planetary norm that we're expecting. There are a few things that definitely take advantage of that in the show, like for example a spaceship that has a star in it and a ruby that Orion was trying to steal. That is a very cool setting and I love that it's a starship. It's great. The lumens that are on it are just as boring as all the other fucking lumens in the magical dimension. Their design is boring. They're basically cell keys. And we all know how I feel about cell keys. Now, specialists having their ships and being able to use them more in actual space where we can observe them do it is also a good thing. But instead of utilizing that as a form of transportation, like in the earlier seasons, Winx get outfits that allow them to travel in space. Having specialists take them to different planets is a built-in excuse to have them tag along. You don't have to come up with excuses as to why Nex or Sky or Riven are coming because they're the ride, you know? A lot of locations are pretty though. There's a lot of moments where I was enjoying the design of stars or locations in general, mostly from afar, not up close shots, but still. There is one place that they called Sideria and they made the lumens, how do I say this? They said they're part trolls. That's why they kind of resemble Neanderthals. I don't know, girl. Whatever. Starbucks that Winx got inside of also had beautiful locations there. Same with Andros's star. So this whole space business could have been fine or even good if it wouldn't have been so poorly utilized, you know? The characters didn't really get a lot to work with. They have very similar characterization as before. There's a lot of examples where it is obvious that the characters still have a lot of issues that pertain to their personalities that have been changed and reduced by writers in season 5. Bloom is this stereotypically poorly written protagonist. She repeats the same phrases. She's the one to call the shots and always scream Winx, Cosmix, Winx, Enchantix, whatever. By this point, she's been like that for 5 seasons. It's so heavy-handed now. We literally get moments like this one from episode 5.
So Bloom came up with the idea of using our Cosmic's powers to boost the lumens.
And save the day, as always.
I mean, come on, seriously? This is what I mean by generic main character, because I cannot imagine the Winx that still had personalities in the first 3 seasons saying something like this. Also, Valtor having an epiphany that to destroy Winx, he needs to destroy Bloom. Absolutely nothing about this makes sense. I don't even know what to say at this point, because why would Valtor, of all people, okay, have to figure that out when he knows that already because he literally has the same origin of power as Bloom. Why would he need Bloom specifically right now when he's after the Cosmic's power? And all of them have the Cosmic's power. Bloom is not the one who actually has it. Another character that I think suffered a lot in terms of losing personality is Aisha. Aisha is portrayed to be a hothead now. Okay. What? She's been like that for 4 or 5 seasons, and once again, this wasn't her original personality. And this personality that they wrote for her in later seasons just isn't good. It's extremely flat and gets rid of so much complexity and depth that she had prior. In episode 9, Aisha is having a whole ass meltdown that makes no sense at all. Not even a little bit. Winx go to Andros underwater star to save it, and they get caught in a self-defense plant / animal thing that makes you fall asleep. Even though the girls are wrapped up in it and it's gross looking, I did not like what it looked like. It's not one of those plants that suffocates you like in the first season, remember that? Nothing like that, they're just asleep. Quite obviously, it is shown that if you are aggressive, the plant will just attack more. What does Aisha do? She loses her shit and starts striking the plant repeatedly in quick succession. Doesn't it sound ridiculous for her character to do that? She is quite good at acting in the most effective way possible. And this is so not her that it is impossible to even imagine that this is the same show as the first 3 seasons. Genuinely, what is the point of continuing a show or soft rebooting it with the same set of characters if you're going to turn them into empty shells that have nothing to do with the originals? Just get a new cast, create a new show, whatever. Let's talk about the Trix. So this one is weird because they get returned from limbo and branded by Valtor. What in the Nexium bullshit is this? I don't know. So they can't leave and just do whatever. So it makes sense why they would work for Valtor, right? Because they don't have a choice. Valtor's reasoning for needing them just doesn't make a lot of sense. We know that Trix are in one way or another related to the ancestral witches, and even if they're not in the later seasons, the witch magic was still kind of put in the villain or negative power category, right? So why the hell would Valtor need Trix to absorb the power of the wishing star? He's like, oh, I'm too evil to do that, or it's my power is too incompatible with it, blah blah blah. Okay. They just forgot the lore, even the lore that they were following in the newer seasons too. Whatever. The arrival of Trix did make season seem more dynamic. They are definitely a great foil to the Winx. That's why they keep on being brought back, because they do make it very easy to make episodes tolerable. They do. They're just very iconic and they work really well with the Winx. Their original design looks good even in this art style, so they do change the Trix lore though, making them not related to each other. Icy having a backstory. I personally do like what they attempted to do with Icy. Does it work in terms of world building? No, but world building is so broken by this point. It really barely matters. Icy being from Diamond, a jewel magic planet that has been conquered and overtaken by a shaman witch, is an interesting approach. It is a little weird that the shaman witch is called a shaman witch and that she's designed the way that she's designed. She looks cool, but the implication is a little funky. Same with the fact that her mark on the land that she took over is a bunch of totem poles. I'm not sure about that. Okay, I'm not sure about that. I find that Icy's relationship with her sister is very compelling, but the logic is a bit iffy. I mean, it is. Even if when you look at this storyline in isolation, for example, Icy saying that she will become a stronger witch than the one that took over her planet, right? When it would make more sense for her to try and become the most powerful fairy, because fairy magic is naturally more powerful in terms of breaking witch witch spells than witches. I like Trix getting some humanity because even though the earlier villains have better characterization, they're still just as aimless in terms of acquiring power as any other season's villain, really. Like, why did the Trix want the power of the dragon in season 1? To take over the world? Sure. But this is a very typical and vague reason, right? Like, it doesn't really require that much of a backstory at all. Same with Darkar, especially Darkar. I mean, come on now. Valtor also doesn't really have a reason as to why he's doing what he's doing. It's kind of a bit revenge-y. It's kind of a bit power grubby, but it's still vague. It's still not really for any particular reason. It's just kind of like, I am evil. I was created to be dark and evil, so I gotta do this dark and evil thing. But at the same time, whenever I think of villains in shows that want power, I feel like in many ways I don't get them the same way I don't get why billionaires do what they do, you know? It is pointless. Going over the limit of what they could ever possibly use or see at any given moment in their entire lives, and yet they persist with their useless power-hungry cruelty. So I guess the villains in shows are kind of the same. The episodes where they're back are definitely better, as I've said. With the episodes in the Star Box being one of the better episodes in this season, with the episodes about Icy being better ones in this season, maybe even the best ones, honestly. The thing that really pissed me off about this part of the show is the ending, okay? The way that situation has been resolved. You don't need to know all the details of the stupid star hunt they were on, okay? All you need to know is that there was this last star that was kind of like a winner takes all situation, right? And at the end, the Trix have a choice to give it to Valtor or Bloom. First of all, why couldn't Icy just keep it to herself? I don't get it. Why did the show make it look like there was only 2 choices, where clearly there was at least 3, right? Icy had the star, and her biggest wish is to break the curse of the witch on her planet. So why not use it? Why wouldn't she use it? Okay, let's say that there's only 2 choices, right? Valtor or Bloom, and Icy found it in her heart to give the star to Bloom. Okay, let's assume that, right? Why the fuck did Bloom use it to wish for the most useless shit possible? She literally wished to be able to protect the magical dimension forever. Bitch. Bloom is so insufferable in this episode. We can already tell, Winx included, that Icy cares about her sister, right? And that's why she's not gonna give the star to Valtor. But Bloom, oh Bloom, she still continues with her speech to Icy.
Listen to me, please. If you give the star to Valtor, it will be the end of everything. The magic universe will be erased forever. Is that what you really want? On Diamond, I realize there is love in you. The choice is yours, Icy.
And in your heart, you know there's only one thing to do.
Bitch, stop. Stop. Even if my plan would have been to save my world, I would have bailed on it just so I can shut her pompous ass up. This is so insufferable. Icy doesn't even need convincing. That's the most frustrating part of it all. You know, she doesn't need convincing. Yet Bloom needs to be a little righteous bitch about it. Why would the writers make her so annoying? Right after, they also say our magical barriers aren't strong enough because Valtor is so powerful. And like, why the fuck is he so powerful? Why? He absorbed the energy of only a few stars. Energy that Winx easily reproduce within minutes, even seconds, with their cosmic powers when they patch up the stars. So what the fuck? The world building is just a genuine nightmare in this show at this point. I cannot. Okay, so the star, Icy gives it to Bloom, and now the Winx can wish anything. And I get that whole thing of them saying that what's good for one isn't always good for all, but what would be so bad about reviving a peaceful world of Diamond? They are not even talking about that because of course they're not. They don't care, apparently. Both Domino and Diamond were overtaken by witches and frozen, right? Both had their people disappear in like thin air. Both Bloom and Icy are their world's princesses and had sisters that got cursed to be in a different state. Let's call it that way, okay? Even the goddamn names, Domino and Diamond, Diamond and Domino. Why doesn't Bloom feel compelled to help? Even if they didn't want to use their wish for that, because they need to ask for more power to win this fight with Valtor, which they shouldn't need, by the way, because Valtor is weak as fuck. He did not get anywhere near as much energy as he used to get from other things, so he's not a threat genuinely. Why wasn't it their next step after defeating him to unfreeze Diamond with the power of the stars and get rid of the witch and the curse? They could have even used even the wish that they did wish, which was to be able to protect the magical dimension forever. Shouldn't that include Diamond? Just saying. I'm just wondering. The problem is not that they didn't show it. They could have hinted at it, said that, they were gonna do it after the end of the show. But instead, we are shown how little any of the Winx actually resemble themselves. I cannot imagine Aisha or Bloom just thinking it's chill that Diamond is in a state like this. Genuinely, I don't see it. The Winx make their wish, and the wishing star makes them look like they have been steeped in piss. I'm not kidding. They could have made them glow more, have a light bunny dance around them, grow in size to match Valtor. Anything, literally anything is better than this nonsense, babe. So they didn't save Diamond, okay? And they left Icy's little sister roaming around an empty, frozen planet as a little fox, all alone. Are you fucking kidding me? Fuck Diamond, I guess. That's what the moral of the story is, apparently. A whole planet of people in peril? Who cares? Winx get a stupid ass constellation though, created by the wishing star. So all is well. It's time for why list. We're gonna start with Star Yummies. Babe, I don't even want to talk about the stupid ass name, okay? Because what on earth? Why? Did they want them to sound stupid and unthreatening? I assume so, because it's just no fun, even when you're like 3 years old, to watch a show with villains, henchmen that are so pathetic. Like, most of all, listen, the way they consume the star energy grosses me out on so many levels. First of all, this. Second of all, the way that the star looks when it's covered by them triggers my trypophobia. And after they're done consuming the energy, they look like they're just a bunch of flying, hairy ass cheeks. Yeah, what's with the ass cheeks this season? I don't understand. I don't get it. They transform to different types of yummies. That's so stupid. The only thing I liked about that whole ordeal was the fact that in the first few episodes, it was shown that Stella's magic was more powerful against them because she is fairy of the shining sun and moon. But then we were back to, they're immune to my magic. Bullshit, so whatever. Riven. At this point, I feel like everyone was annoyed by the way this has been handled, okay? If you don't remember, Riven and Musa broke up in season 6, okay? Because of Riven's love affair with a boomerang.
Come to Pop!
When they broke up, Riven also left the specialist team because he wanted to work on himself or something. Don't know why or what for. Nothing has been explained. It wasn't a well thought out conflict at all, obviously. After that, Riven was absent in season 7 altogether. And now in season 8, he returns.
Huh?
The art style definitely doesn't do him any favors. It looks so funny that we're supposed to believe that Musa and Riven have such a long history when they're literally like, they look 12.
He looks different.
Huh?
Musa is pissed at Riven. And no one knows why. We are supposed to think that it's because he didn't contact her, but they broke up and he didn't seem to contact anybody else either. The way that Musa's reaction was written, it makes you feel as if they were still together and he just like got up and left, or that they broke up, he disappeared without letting her know at all, without them having this conversation, you know? So it's just so dramatic and strange, because it's one thing if she was upset, right? But it's another that she's upset and feels completely justified in her extreme reaction, right? I still can't get over what the guys look like. Then we get some annoying ass jealousy moments with Orion and them being like, oh my god, are you jealous? As if I wasn't annoyed by them already, by all three of them actually, Orion fucking included. Their conflicts are just so forced. In episode 10, they are upset because they're never in sync, and they are all calling Flora and Helia corny because they actually are. And you know how they show that Riven and Musa are not in sync? They show everyone deciding on what genre of a song they're going to write next, right? And Riven suggests rock and Musa suggests pop, and they're not even like fighting about it. They just suggested, right? Okay, they didn't even like have a discussion about it, didn't fight about it, they just suggested it, and all of a sudden we're supposed to believe that they cannot agree on anything. They didn't say anything else. It's just so fucking stupid. It's so hollow and shallow and dull. Also, why is Helia bringing Flora a bouquet? It's flowers that have been cut. She would never accept a bouquet. Like, come on, let's be serious here. Also, Riven sets up a surprise for Musa, making a projection of her face appear while the Winx are on stage performing. And she's upset at him because it's like so embarrassing. In this universe, this is embarrassing to you? It would make a lot of sense if she was not on stage for her to feel embarrassed by this, but in this case I really don't get it. And like, get this, Riven gets mind controlled by Darcy again. Who wouldn't get mind controlled by this? Anyway, he's always the one being mind controlled. Like, it's annoying, it's happened so many times. At this point, they should just assume that whenever he's acting weird, they should just check if he's being mind controlled right away. And the cherry on top of all of this, Riven tells Musa, you know, we do actually need to talk about us. And she goes, shh.
About us?
Shh. 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 Tomorrow. So he said, we need to talk. And she said, nah, let's continue being toxic and annoying. Valtor. Oof, this one. I already complained about him, but Valtor is the main villain of this season, and I genuinely do not understand why they would do this. None of the plot is tied to him being Valtor, right? They could have had a new villain altogether, change just his looks, and nothing would have been different at all. The only thing that would be different is the fact that they wouldn't ruin Valtor with season 8 nonsense. But other than that, nothing. Using Valtor makes for a very messy experience, okay? Valtor had to use the energy and spells of many worlds to have as much power as he had in season 3. All of the spells and questions are incredibly diverse and powerful. In this season, all he does is drain the star cores with the help of the star yummies and move on to the next. In theory, it shouldn't be as much of an issue, but it actually is, since we are shown over and over and over again that Winx can actually refill the core within mere minutes or seconds. Sure, it's due to the power of Cosmix, but if Cosmix is that much more powerful than any of the star cores, then why on the fuck of the earth would they need that much energy, well beyond Cosmic's energy, to defeat Valtor in the end? It just doesn't, the math isn't mathing. It's not doing the thing, okay? It's just not enough power for Valtor to be after it. It just doesn't make any sense. Also, in episode 3, Valtor is watching Winx perform and he goes, they're becoming a ball and chain.
The Winx are seriously becoming a ball and chain.
Even if that's not what he said, that's all I can hear. So, pardon me? A ball and chain? They're becoming your wives in the 90s stand-up comedy now? Like, what is going on? Anyway, Obscurum is another villain this season, more like Valtor's henchman. He's quite boring, generally speaking, except for a few moments that were genuinely funny. One time he was pretending like he can't hear Valtor as if it was like a phone connection, but it was a magic thing connection. Another one was when Obscurum was literally flirting with Valtor, being like,
What did you have in mind for my coronation? Maybe something a little more intimate. You, me, and some star yummy.
maybe something more intimate. You, me, world domination. Valtor just always has everyone falling for him. It's genuinely so entertaining, but it's just upsetting seeing Valtor so devoid of any charisma. It's genuinely depressing, okay? It was his best quality, that and the fact that he did most of his own bidding. At least he's still hot, I guess. I don't know. In what Obscurum also says that he works for Valtor because Valtor listens to his counsel and respects him, which clearly he does not. And the writers, if they gave it just a second, they maybe would have figured out that it would make more sense for Valtor to not be so dismissive of Obscurum and to actually write him as Valtor, where he would be more manipulative and trying to get him to feel some kind of weird loyalty to him. Anyway, Orion. Listen, he pisses me off so much. He mostly pisses me off in episode 6, where he's acting like such an annoying little bitch.
You said your magic could fix it.
I think this core is too damaged.
I've had enough of your worthless promises.
Orion, you hoe. You broke the star's core.
But then you broke it!
That's technically true.
And now you're acting like it's Winx's fault? Don't even remind me of him. Also, both Lumens and Orion are really bold in their attitude. Honestly, if they're acting like that, maybe the problem is not that bad and everyone should just leave them to die. Because why are they so careless about communication with someone who's actually trying to help them? Orion collaborating with Valtor also doesn't make any sense. He got pissed at Winx for not being able to reignite the core of a star because he broke it, but he's gonna trust Valtor all of a sudden. He also made a device that Techne is super impressed by, which once again makes no sense because the device looks like a raider from about 100 years ago. Also, why is Orion the only fucking person on Prometheus? Where is everyone else? Anyway, fuck Orion. Peas. This one pissed me off so much and it's such a small thing, but well, technically speaking, but it just is a perfect example of why it's so boring to watch these seasons. Orion sends Winx to a place where there is like a machine waiting for them that's gonna attack them, yada yada yada. First and foremost, when they get attacked, they don't fucking use their powers for such a long time that I thought I was gonna lose my mind, okay? Then Stella and Flora use their magic. It takes them way too long to figure out that they need to work together for the plants around them to wake up and be able to use them against the machine. Don't ask me why they needed to do it in such a roundabout way instead of just using their stupid ass power blast that they use every single episode. But let's just assume they needed to do it this way, okay? Bitch, when I tell you that the thing that caused damage to the machine, that made it short circuit, is a few peas that jumped out of their pods, I mean it. Yeah, you want to tell me that Winx are now weaker than peas? Really? Really? Mermaid designs. This one is a quick one, but it's bothered me so much. We all know how gorgeous mermaid designs were in season 3. It is even more impressive when you realize that most of the mermaids that appeared on screen were not even side characters. They were basically just background characters. Now look at this shit. Yeah, enough said. Wonderful. I have complained about this for seasons. This phrase in particular was used so much this season, I genuinely jumped with frustration whenever I heard it.
Wonderful, 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 wonderful. Wow, wonderful.
Speaking of repetition, copy paste. New seasons of Winx. It's just so many scenarios that are so just genuinely so copy paste. It's crazy, okay? I know that structure is important in shows, but that's exactly why I created a little flow chart, okay? That is more specific. Episode starts. Twinkly comes to say that the star is in danger. Winx go to the star. Music joke. Obscurum distracts the Winx. It's a trick. Or he's draining the star.
Oh no! It's a trap!
Obscurum takes the star power. Oh no, we are too late. Winx reignite the star with the cosmic powers. Obscurum escapes. Then, a special thing, X, happens that we will discuss next. And another copy-paste thing that happens every episode is this. Valtor talks to Obscurum. Obscurum dreams of being king. Valtor gets pissed at him. Obscurum begs not to be sent in some other reality or whatever the fuck it's supposed to be. Valtor sends him or not sends him every episode. And the most annoying copy-paste thing of them all. Concerts. Oh, they're so annoying. The first episode, when they show the instruments, transforming and becoming the instruments or whatever, a whole ass sequence. I thought, okay, cute, I guess. But then they started singing, okay? And I did not like the song. A lot of the songs this season have this annoying refrains that sound like, ah, 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 ah. It's 1 a.m. Why am I doing this? Fuck. Okay, whatever. I need to focus so I can fucking finish working for the day. And then the worst possible thing happened, okay? They performed on screen all the time. I even counted it, okay? Because I wanted to make a point. And they literally perform in half of the episodes. It's okay once. It's okay twice. It's even okay 3 times a season. But 12, bitch? 12? Peace signs and selfie time. Also emoji messages, I guess, also part of this. If you're gonna be watching the show, take a shot every time they do this, okay? Or take a selfie, and to make it very interesting for you, do it every time they get an emoji message, okay? Chug a whole bottle of tequila whenever they take a selfie and hold up a peace sign. Melee. Someone take this girl to a doctor or something, because why on earth is she always growing up and down every 2 seconds and has the same fight or disagreement with Flora for the 100th time? Like, something is going on, girls. Amnesia or some shit, I don't know, but something's wrong. What was that? Is that a fucking oil rig? Is that the Gardenia oil rig? Yeah, but you can't be serious. They made such a stink about it in season 5 and even changed it to like an eco-friendly power plant, and now this bitch is back? I'm so tired. Griselda. Last but not least, Griselda and the rest of the Althea faculty, I guess. They gave her a terrible voice and made her a killjoy. I know she has always been strict, okay? Like, I know that. But Griselda giving Miss F a glare for enjoying a concert, and for Agonda correcting her behavior as if she was doing something wrong. Whiskers giving Winx tons of homework because Stella skipped a class is absolutely insane. They're dealing with Valtor and you're giving them homework. Heaps of it. Go deal with him yourself then if you're that smart. Go deal with him yourself, Whiskers, if you have that much time on your hands. If you think it's so easy. She's not a killjoy, Griselda. Putting on a concert is not against rules, so why the fuck would she be mad about it? She's never mad about things that are actually allowed to happen on campus. My point is, they ruin her, and I can't stand them, and they're lazy writing. So yeah, that's enough for me. Thank you to my patrons. I can't talk about this anymore. I cannot believe this damn video is this long. I don't know why you guys wanted a review of this season, to be honest, because it's not good. And the only huge difference between this season and seasons 5 to 7 is the art style. That's it. They're way too similar. Yeah, there are some things that are better, some things that are worse, but overall, on average, it's not that much better or worse really than any other season. The art style is jarring and not a good choice, but so is like almost everything fucking else in this show at this point. So whatever, whatever. I should have made like a letter D for Darcy, right? Like the way that she wears it with chains too, but I didn't know how to make it. I think it's already cute that it's like on the hips. See? It's on the hips. It's right here. Anyway, bye.